This is News with the Disney Dude. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and please hit that thumbs up if you like the video. Yes, I am still alive. Sometimes, more often than not, my work schedule impedes me doing the news because sometimes I have to work late. Sometimes that means I get off at 10, sometimes that means I don't get off till 11, so, and then, driving home, and then by the time I, get situated and settled, it's too late. It's too late for me to do the news, so, that's why sometimes I just have to skip days because my work schedule just doesn't work out with the news schedule, so, But I thank you for your patience. So now let's get on with the news for November 19th of 2025. Disney's Boardwalk Inn, Gingerbread House, and Christmas decor have been installed. So you can now go to Disney's Boardwalk, and same with the Contemporary and all of the other resorts around Walt Disney World. They are now fully decked out for the holidays. So you can now go and enjoy those. Domestic Disney parks may move to constantly fluctuating dynamic ticket prices. So, this means that the dates will the pricing will constantly change depending on the date. Obviously, get closer to the holidays now, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, it's going to be more expensive, and then on the times that they're not holidays, it'll go down, and then it'll go back up, and then down, and then up, and down, and up. They'll be constantly. The ticket prices will constantly be jumping up or down. It just depends on what the date is, when you're going, and all of that nature. So you will have make sure you look on Disney's website, whether you're visiting Walt Disney World or you're visiting Disneyland. Make sure you look at the date. You look at your dates and figure out which dates you want to go, and what your budget allows. So, but just keep that in mind that Disney, we don't have a date yet, but I would pretty soon, it would. I would say that they would be moving forward with this pretty soon. So, like I said, just check the website. Make sure that the dates you want to go are they're within your budget and within your range. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so now I have some bad news for you people that waited too long. If you were on the fence of whether or not to buy your Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party ticket, you are out of luck. It is completely sold out for the 2025 holiday season. They are all gone. So, better luck next year. Inevitably, though, there's going to be people in the comments, on either on my channel, or, WDWNT's channel, or, whoever, and saying, it's so expensive and it's, it's overcrowded and I didn't have a good time and blah, 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 and it's like, we say the same thing every year. We say the same thing every year. If this is going to price you out, then maybe you shouldn't be going in the first place. All right, we're just saying that. We're just saying that, okay? Inevitably people will come in and they'll argue with us, and we're wrong, and da da and blah 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 blah. That's why I really like Jollywood Nights. That's why I really like the Christmas party at Jollywood Nights. Now, it hasn't caught on yet, so it's, the crowds are still low. But there's gonna come a time when that's gonna sell out too. It'll catch on, and that'll start selling out too. I think I did see one date sold out, which kind of caught me off guard, but Jollywood Nights doesn't sell out. It doesn't. So, a lot of people complain about Jollywood because Jollywood Nights is a more adult driven holiday party. It's more, it's set in that old, which is why I really like this party. It's set in the Hollywood of the 1930s and 40s, and they have champagne, and they have other drinks, and which I don't drink anyway, but the whole aesthetic of the event is centered around Hollywood of the golden age of film, which I really love. I really love that. That is a callback to what Disney MGM Studios was. And I think it's a way better Christmas event. Way better Christmas event than Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. With Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, it's like, okay, the stage show is at this time, so I gotta line up for that. The parade is at this time, so I gotta start lining up for that. The fireworks are at this time, so I gotta start lining up for that. So you constantly have to plan what you're gonna do. With Jollywood Nights, you don't. There's 2 stage shows. There's Disney's Holidays in Hollywood, which is my personal favorite, and then there's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Sing-Along. So after I knock out those 2 because I do those 2 stage shows first, after I knock those out, I'm good. I can walk around the rest of the evening, enjoy, get my Santa Gertie cookie, and do a couple of character meet and greets if I want. Just walk around and enjoy the atmosphere. I think it's great. I really love that event. A lot of people, and I'm trying to do that this year. There's a lot of people that dress up for this event, for Jollywood. They dress up like they're, like in the 1930s aesthetic. They're really, really awesome. They're really, really cool. Costumes and such. So I really, really love that. So I'm gonna try to do that this year. I'm just gonna have to wait. I'm just gonna have to see, but I'm gonna try to do that. But I really love that event. Really love that event. People are just too hard on it because I just don't think they don't get it. They didn't get it, and they're like, where's the pie in the face? Where's Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has that, wow moment. Jollywood doesn't. Now, there's one thing about Jollywood Nights that has that wow moment, and that's Disney's Holidays in Hollywood, which you can watch that right here on this channel, starring Miss Piggy and Kermit. and Tiana, Belle, and Mickey and Minnie. And, they have a live band. It's really great, really spectacular. They really outdid themselves with that show. So, give that a watch if you can't make it to if you can't make it to Disney's Jollywood Nights. I also have a video up of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along, if you want to watch that, which is another good show. Not as good as Holidays in Hollywood, but, still worth checking out. So, if you can't make it to Jollywood this year, you can check those out. But, that's right, but, that's really why I love Jollywood Nights, because, and who knows, maybe in like 5 to 10 years I'll be saying, the same thing like I say with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, where it's overcrowded, it's sold out, and you can't walk anywhere. Who knows, I could be having a different conversation with you in 5 to 10 years, okay, but right now, Jollywood Nights is really fun. Really, really fun. And there's no need to worry that it's going to sell out. Like I said, one date has sold out, but that's it. That's it. So, but I also did an honest review last year as well, so you can give that a watch as well. If you can't make it to Jollywood Nights, you can, I have that honest review. I have the 2 stage shows up. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't do a review of the Santa Gertie cookie. I'll see if I can try to do that this year. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, that, Jollywood Nights is, to me, a much better Christmas party than Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. But let me know how you feel. I'm sure someone's going to come in the comments and be like, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is a lot better, and but which we all have our preferences. I really, look, I'm not saying that I don't like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I like it very much. But Jollywood Nights, to me, is better, is way better than Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And it's not because I love Hollywood Studios the most. It's not because I'm biased against, Magic Kingdom, or I'm for Hollywood Studios. It's just my personal preference. My personal preference. If you have kids, especially like little kids, don't take them to Jollywood Nights, because they're going to be bored, you're going to be bored, and you're not going to have a good time. Take them to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, okay? But if you want to do a more adult Christmas party, definitely do Jollywood Nights, because that event is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that this year. Another boat sinks on Living with the Land at Epcot. Look, I love Living with the Land. I really love it's part of that whole edutainment aspect of Epcot. This ride, Disney, if you're listening, this ride is telling you something. You need to close it for refurbishment. Okay? If this ride continues to do that, which it has, boats keep sinking and such, you need to close it for refurbishment. Okay, I know you're getting it ready for the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays. I know it's getting all decked out, which, you can watch that video again. I put that video up last year as well, which I love. I love that. But sometime in the not too distant future, Disney, you need to look at this ride. You need to close it for a refurbishment, okay? Because a lot of, especially in the in the American Farm section, those audio animatronics look abysmal. They look abysmal. They look terrible. So, Disney, again, if you're watching this, sometime after the holidays, you need to close Living with the Land and give that some general care and general care and maintenance, because these boats that are the boats that are sinking, the ride's telling you something. The ride is telling you it's time to close for a refurbishment. Alright? I know you don't want to do it right now because of the holiday season, which I understand, I get, but sometime in January, I would do it. I would really do it. Walt Disney World Lightning Lane Premier Pass is selling out really quick for Thanksgiving, for the Thanksgiving holiday week. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're selling out really quick, really quick. So if I have any international people that are watching this video, if you don't live here, sooner rather than later, I would buy your Lightning Lane Premier Pass or your Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, because those are going to start selling out really quick. Really quick. So, I do have an honest review. I'm plugging a lot of things plugging a lot of things in this video, but I do have a honest review of that Premier Pass system. If you want to give that a watch as well, see if I liked it or not. But sooner rather than later, I would buy your Lightning Lane, either your Premier Pass, which is your more expensive option, or the Multi-Pass, which is your cheaper option. I would buy that really quick. Really quick. Disney prepares for more holiday entertainment at Epcot. A stage has been set up. This is great. This is fantastic news. I love live entertainment. I love live entertainment at these theme parks. So I think that's great. They're setting up holiday entertainment for Epcot, which I think is fantastic. Which is great. Not so much with this, but usually with this Streetmosphere type of stuff, it tends to go away really quick. Very quick. Because the pencil pushers of the Walt Disney Company are like, we have to save a few bucks. What can we cut from the parks? And live entertainment is the first thing to go. It is the first thing to go. Because they point at it and they're like, we do not need that. They don't take into consideration that these are people's jobs. Okay, they're not taking that into consideration. So they just cut live entertainment because it saves them a few dollars. So I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you love the entertainment, if you love the Streetmosphere entertainment, go to guest relations, fill out a card telling them how much you love this entertainment. Please tell them how much you love this Streetmosphere atmospheric entertainment, because if people don't, it's going to go away really fast, really fast, because they, Disney and Universal, they take a look at the Streetmospheric entertainment and they're like, that costs too much money, let's get rid of it. So please, we are begging you, if you love it, go to guest relations, or if they send you a survey after your visit on your phone, fill it out, tell them how much you love that live entertainment. Please please tell them how much you love that live entertainment, and and tell them that it should not go away. It should not go away. So there's your homework. there's your homework. I want people to go and fill out a guest relations I don't know, what do they call them, questionnaires or surveys or whatever, but go there and fill it out, and please let them know. Please let them know, because the only way that they're gonna keep this is if enough people jump on the bandwagon and say how much they love this, because it'll go away really fast. Really fast. We had a couple of great Streetmosphere acts at Epcot. I don't know, months ago, I think at this point, where it was a scientist and his, robot assistant. It was a live person, but, it was a robot assistant that they were out at Epcot, which, I really loved. But guess what? They're gone. They're gone. That's how much Disney cares for live entertainment. So, please, we are all begging you, okay? Please let them know how much you love all of that stuff. Because if you don't, it will go away. It will go away really fast. Mickey's PhilharMagic has reopened early from its refurbishment. Nothing really has changed in the theater. I've heard people say that the film was a lot more crisp and everything. So it was just general maintenance, just general upkeep. But I haven't seen it myself since the refurb. I'll have to let you know when I go next time. But no major changes were visible from just going in there and seeing, maybe just things kind of refreshed and repainted and rejuvenated. Alright, I do want to let everyone know this. Magic, we don't have a date yet. It is sometime in January, but Magic Kingdom will close early, one day sometime in January, for the cast member service celebration. The park will close at 4:30 in the afternoon for that event. So, if you are going, we don't have a date yet, so we can't tell you what date that is, but just keep that in mind. If you see that the Magic Kingdom closes at 4:30 one day, that's why. That is why. It's for the cast service celebration. So, which, I really think it should happen more than, once a year, but that's just me. But just keep that in mind. And if you are going to the Magic Kingdom sometime in January, keep an eye on the date. Keep an eye on the date, and if you see 4:30 on there, don't be alarmed. That's just because of the cast member service appreciation. All right, that is your news. That's your news. The last story I want to talk about, though, and rant, I would say, is I want to talk again about Epic Universe, okay? Because people are still saying that, this is a Disney killer and, it's so much better and blah, 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 blah. I want to tell you something, okay? Universal cannot seem to get their rides up and running, okay, they are still having major ride problems, major ride issues. And I'm not talking like, rides are closing down for like, an hour or two. I'm talking like, half a day, all day, or weeks on end. So they can't seem to get these rides up and running. So, and it's, if Disney ever did something like that, man, we would be, going after them with the pitchforks and the fire, and we would really be hounding them. We would really be hounding them. So, that's where Disney excels at. One of the ways they excel is, they keep their rides up and going. Do they go down? Yes, rides are going to go down. That's just a fact, okay? These are computer operated systems. They're going to go down. But Disney, to their credit, now I have ranted, that maintenance is not what it used to be, but Disney still gets their rides up and going pretty quick. Maybe an hour or two, but then they come up. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, here we are in Florida. We are the tourist destination, one of the top tourist destinations in the world. People come here for the theme parks. And if things aren't working for them, they're not going to have a good time. They're not going to have a good time because I'll tell you, Florida is so much different than California or Tokyo or Paris or Shanghai. Okay, Florida is in the minority because we have so many tourists that visit our theme parks. Okay. They are not repeat visitors. They come once in a lifetime, maybe twice. That's it. They never come back. Okay? So it's really important that these things work for them. It's really important that these things work and they look great, because they're going to get home and they're going to be like, well, that park wasn't so great. That wasn't so great. I don't know what everyone's talking about. That was horrible. The rides were down all day. The park was overcrowded, which is another problem that Universal was having. These theme parks have to be able to hold your intended capacity for people. And so that they have, things, different things to do, which is what, Disney obviously is very crowded, okay? But there's things to do that have capacity. And so it balances out. It balances out, and you're not waiting in, 2 to 3 hour lines all day, which is what Epic Universe is having right now. Okay? The rides and the shows, they keep going down, and, all the lines are 2 to 3 hours, and people are not having a good time. People are not having a good time, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. They feel like they've been punched in the stomach. They feel like they've been robbed. So I agree with these people. I agree with these people that, this theme park clearly is not ready. This theme park is clearly not ready, and they're already talking about expanding, which they have to anyway because this park doesn't have any capacity. Which is another thing. You built a theme park in Florida. What happens 6 months out of the year? From June to November. It's our hurricane season. Okay? It rains, it thunders, it lightnings. Half of your park, half of Epic Universe has to close because due to weather. And that's a really big capacity issue. Another big capacity issue, which is another thing Disney excels at. They have so much indoor stuff to do that people can escape the elements. They can escape with the ride, or they can escape with the show, or, whatever. And they can get out of the elements. Okay? Epic Universe doesn't have that. It doesn't have it. They have 2 shows. 2 indoor shows. And they can't seem to get those up and running either. So that's capacity lost in your park as well. So if the outdoor rides close for weather and you can't get the shows up and running either, that's bad. That's not great. That is not great. And people, they're going to come back from their vacations and they're going to say, well, that park wasn't so great. I don't know why people are ranting and raving about that. That park was not great. Okay? And look, I like Epic Universe. It's a really pretty park to look at and to walk through. But if your rides are not running, if your rides and your shows are not running and you have no capacity in your park, that park gets crowded really fast. Okay? I think the intended capacity for that park is 40,000 people. As far as I know, they're not up to that yet because they're still having problems. And that's an issue. That is a really big issue. So I'm sure the Universal people are going to come in here and they're going to be like, it's the greatest thing ever and you just don't know what you're talking about. And blah, 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 blah. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about because I look at those wait times every day. I look at those wait times on my phone every day. Every day. And when I see that these rides are closed for hours and hours and hours and hours on end, that tells me that tells me that this park is still struggling. Still struggling. So I think that Universal really rushed this thing. It shouldn't have opened so fast. They clearly they were not ready then. They're not ready now. It's gonna take at least another year for this park to kind of just settle. And they're still talking about expanding already. On one hand, I understand that. On the other hand, I'm like, you're not ready. You are not ready for expanding. So, it's, so, but I mean, again, I know I'm going to have a lot of people come in. They're going to be like, they're going to want to fight me and everything, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't see what everybody else is seeing about Epic Universe. Maybe sometime down the road, a couple years, I could be sitting here and having a totally different conversation with you and being like, man, they really nailed it. Okay? But right now, nope. They're just not ready. They are not ready. And look, I've been to that park, what have I been? 3 times now. 3 times. And every time I go, I see guests that are crying. I see team members that are crying because the guests are being so nasty to them. So, management at Universal needs to go to Epic Universe and see that. They need to go and see that because that's not good. That is not great. That is not how you run a theme park. That is not how you run a theme park. But let me know how you feel. If you've been to Epic, let me know. But I'm not seeing what everyone else is seeing. I see the comments online on the Facebook page. They're like, man, I had a great time and blah and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, you went on a good day then. You went on an extremely rare good day. So, But more often than not, most of the posts that I read about Epic Universe is not good. It is not good. So, but there you are. There's your news. I do apologize for this kind of like, on-off schedule. Just because, my work schedule just, it doesn't, sometimes it'll allow me to do the news 3 times a week. Sometimes it just won't. So I appreciate your patience and your continued support. Again, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel. I thank you guys very much for watching this video. You guys have a great rest of your day. And remember that tomorrow is just a dream away.